Greetings and salutations. Thought I would pull some cards on this Tuesday. Figured I would use my tarot deck and make it a Tarot Tuesday, since I haven't posted for Oracle Monday this week or last week. Although I did have a video for last week and I was trying to upload it like a few times, but maybe it was too long and it just wasn't able to upload. And then finally it did, but then I forgot even what it was about, and I hadn't made the cover photo. It's uploaded, so I'm gonna list it. I just have to make the the thumbnail for it, and then like list it as public. But that's besides the point. Here we are in this moment on this Tuesday with the Light Seers Tarot deck. Yeah, so we'll see what message comes through for us in this moment. Just allowing yourself to be open to receive, and for anyone that has any reservations with the tarot, just understanding that things are not inherently evil or demonic or bad, or my personal belief when it comes to the tarot and oracle decks and different forms of divination tools, we've kind of been steered away from a lot of these tools through fear, because they have different aspects of guidance that we might benefit from, right? They're not things that we are supposed to over rely on or to use as absolute like gospel in the way that we navigate our lives, but they are useful tools for us to have available to us, and recognizing that your intention has a lot to do with how you interact with and operate within, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but the idea is just to allow yourself to be open, and to be open to the idea that these things do not go against God. They don't go against anything really. I think they can act as an enhancement. They are here for anyone, regardless of what belief or non-belief you might adhere to. I think the universe, God, spirit brings us different messages, just in so many different ways. It could be, listening to the radio and the specific song comes on, or different numbers that keep coming up, things that people might say, that they might mention that you had been thinking of just before, just the different synchronicities that come up that we can often cast aside as just coincidence. The universe is speaking to us in so many different ways, and it's providing us messages in so many different ways through so many different vessels, and it's just allowing ourselves to be open to that, right? Not to block that out, not to cast it aside, not to demonize or allow ourselves to block ourselves off from something because of fear, because of something that we've been told. Allowing ourselves to make up our mind for ourselves, recognize the power and the strength that we have, and this applies in so many ways. Also, when it comes to information in general, when people guide you away from looking at certain kinds of information, we have to ask ourselves why. Why are you telling me not to look here? Why should I trust that you know better than me? Why shouldn't I trust myself to be able to interact with this information and make a decision for myself, right? Why am I holding on to this fear that has been passed down for generations, you know? When people guide you away from knowledge, when they guide you away from information and tell you that it's something that's bad for you, you should ask questions. Why don't you want me to look at this? You know, why are you telling me to stay away? And it's allowing ourselves to make those decisions for ourselves, you know. But yeah, so just allowing yourself in this moment just to be open, you know, to be open to receive the message that comes through, to be open just to listen, you know, to hear out, to feel into what, you know, you receive, you know, and trust that, you know, you only need to take what resonates for you, you know, and trust in your ability to recognize that, to recognize what's right for you and what's not, you know, but allowing yourself to be open to the information that's there, and then make that decision for yourself, you know, just making sure that you are truly the decider in what it is you take in, you know, and really like that why, you know, why shouldn't I, you know, what is the evidence that I have seen personally, right? Not what I've been told, not what I've heard, but what have I seen personally, right? And how can I inform my decisions based on my experience and my interactions and the information and the knowledge that I am receiving, you know, and trusting in yourself, to be able to navigate through that, right? To be able to, yeah. Bit of an extended ramble before pulling some cards, but I suppose it is what was meant to come through in this moment. You know, for me personally, you know, within the realm of like spirituality and, you know, people in different kind of boxes within that, one thing that comes up a lot is this kind of idea of being against religion, you know, and I think that kind of comes from a lot of trauma that has been, you know, received within the church or within whatever faith it is that they have been interacting with. Their experience might have been somewhat traumatic, you know, and recognizing, I guess, that despite the you know, very many figures within different aspects of the church have kind of warped, you know, and kind of, you know, manipulated and, you know, I've done a lot of things to warp, you know, what I think religion really is meant to be, and have picked and choosed and edited and updated based on their own, you know, beliefs and desires and desire for control, you know, desire for control. So a lot of things that we might associate with religion aren't necessarily true to religion, true to that religion. You know, there are things that have been created and manipulated to make us believe certain things so that we act and behave in certain ways, right? So that we look away from things that could actually help us connect deeper to spirit, to the collective, to God, to the universe, right? So just allowing ourselves to open our eyes to the different things that have been done, and not seeing it as a thing where any which religion is bad, but recognizing that there are people who have intentionally infiltrated different religious structures in order to implement these tentacles of control, and it's widespread, and just allowing ourselves to recognize that, but to recognize, even within all of that, recognize the power that we have within ourselves, right? Recognizing our deep connection to spirit, to God, to the universe, and recognizing how we're able to tap into that. And yeah. Okay. I'm gonna pull some cards. But yeah, definitely would love to expand this conversation, just like hearing your thoughts, sharing where you're at, but yes, we're just gonna pause in this moment and take a breath. Just take a deep cleansing breath, a deep inhale through the nose, and a full exhale through the mouth. Just relaxing into this moment, trusting in the energy of this moment, trusting in yourself, the knowledge that you have, the wisdom that you have, trusting in your discernment to know what is for you and what's not. Feeling into the energy of this moment, setting the intention to call in the energy of love, of peace, of truth. And just allowing ourselves to be open to receive that love, that peace, that truth. Just setting the collective intention to call in the message that's in the greatest and highest good of the collective. Do we need to hear in this moment? What more do we need to hear in this moment? Okay. 9 of Swords. 3 of Cups. Maybe one more. 4 of Pentacles. Okay. Oh, this is actually 2 cards. All right, so there's 4 cards that came out. The other one here is Temperance. Oops. So we have Temperance, 3 of Cups, and the purples, 9 of Swords, and then get this out. 4 of Pentacles. All right. So let's see what comes up with these. So 9 of Swords, you know, and then just kind of looking at, you know, her sitting there and just kind of feeling the sorrow and the grief within that, you know, and I feel like this is kind of representative of the collective right now. We are collectively grieving, you know, even if maybe not consciously. Within the deep subconscious of the collective, there is a deep grief that we are moving through as all of these different truths are being unveiled, right? As more and more people are waking up to the reality of all the things that are happening in the world, right? There is a deep grief that comes with that, right? With recognizing the truth of what is, what has been, and what we are looking towards, like what is coming ahead, you know. So there is this deep grief that is present within the collective, and I think allowing ourselves to feel that, right, to really feel the depths of what is coming up for us right now, right? It's important for us to allow ourselves to feel, right, to really feel and to really see all the things that are happening, right? We can sometimes try to distract ourselves away from things because it's too difficult to face, it's too heavy to hold, right? But allowing ourselves to truly see all that's happening, right, and to allow ourselves to feel through it, you know, as we are moving forward as a collective. There is a healing that needs to take place, a collective healing, and it takes place with each one of us allowing ourselves to move through those processes, right? Yeah, really holding space for ourselves to heal. And Three of Cups, you know, recognizing, well, just looking at the picture, there's, you know, the three women together, and just kind of that idea of coming together, you know, recognizing that this healing, this grief, this sorrow, we're not alone in that, right? We have people around us. This is a collective thing that we're moving through, right? This is collective healing that needs to take place, and that happens in community, that happens in coming together and allowing ourselves to be open and vulnerable with each other, within community. And you know, that's something that for me has been coming up so much, you know, that deep desire to be held within community, and recognizing all the ways that I have been kind of blocking myself off from that, you know. And like right now, really, you know, taking that time to look at that and to move forward within that, take action within that, you know. And that's kind of what's being called on us, to look within, but also to allow ourselves to be held within that pain, right? We don't have to move through it alone. We're not alone. You're never alone, right? There is always support that's there, and it's recognizing that and allowing ourselves to trust in that. Because when we trust that we are truly held and supported, right, then we're willing to take those scarier steps forward. You know, we're able to really look at the things that are happening and to recognize the part that we play in that, and to allow ourselves to take those necessary steps forward, right? To take action in moving forward, right? But we need to have that trust. We need to have that foundation, and it starts with us. It starts with each one of us, you know, going within, reaching out. Yeah. And we have Temperance. And then it kind of just looks like, you know, you have that light and that dark, sun and moon, and just that balance of both, right? Recognizing that within us, right? We all carry light and dark, you know, we are all, yeah, just kind of like, you know, the sun, like there's always, we all have aspects that are within the shadow, right? And that's not something that we need to be ashamed of, even though it is something that we do carry shame around. And that's part of that process of healing, is allowing ourselves to face those things, right? And to forgive ourselves within those things, and to accept ourselves within our shadow, you know, to love deeply those parts of ourselves, right? Not just the parts that gain favor from others, but, you know, the parts that maybe might turn others away, you know, and recognizing that all parts of you are worthy of love. Your light parts, your dark parts, it's all a part of you, right? It's all a part of all of us, right? It's a part of the collective. You know, look at the world right now. There is so much that you can look out and, you know, as darkness and as evil, and, you know, but at the same time you're able to look out and see so much light and so much beauty, right? It's that beauty of duality, you know, and just allowing ourselves to find balance within that, to bring balance to that, right? And recognizing that, you know, it is yeah, it's reliant on us, you know, to kind of bring in that balance, not waiting for anyone outside of us to come and save us, but, you know, for us to recognize that, you know, that's our responsibility. But yeah, there's a power that comes with, you know, fully embracing all of you, you know. And that last one, Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles. She's kind of like holding her purse close to her. And then like behind, you see that it's kind of like community, you know, like a little town center or whatever. I'm not sure what I'm getting from this one. What do you get from this one? I'd love to hear you share in the comments. Four of Pentacles. What comes through for you? She does have kind of like a calm, serene feel of her, but then still there is that kind of quiet tension and worry that's there, you know. And sometimes we mask, you know, we hide that that tension that is within, and it's important to allow ourselves to let that be seen, right? We don't have to hold on to, you know, I feel like there's some things that, you know, we're holding on to, we're keeping it sacred, and yes, you know, yes, there are things that are meant to be held and held sacred, but there's so much value in our expression and allowing our truth to be shared, you know. Gatekeeping is the word that comes up. It's one that I've heard like a few times like this week, the idea of gatekeeping, you know. And one thing that is consistently gate kept is knowledge, right? Access to knowledge, to certain kinds of information, and it's important that we allow ourselves to be open to receiving that information and seeing the things that are in plain sight. And when you have information and knowledge and thoughts and wisdom that can be shared, allowing yourself to share it, you know, and recognizing the value in it. Don't gatekeep, you know. Don't deny yourself the opportunity to be an agent of change, right? Of peace, of love, of liberation, you know, in whatever way that looks for you, you know. But yeah, don't hold on too tightly, you know. Allow that to be shared, you know. Temperance, 9 of Swords, 3 of Cups, 4 of Pentacles. And with that, I believe I am complete. Sending so much love, so much gratitude. If you have made it this far, thank you. I appreciate you being open. Sending so much love.